this program is called Stellarium. You guys out there watching, you should download it for free. I don't know about if it works on Mac, you guys. I don't think it does. Niki, doesn't it not work so well on Mac? I'm not sure.
Well,
Anyways,
I don't
try
have
it
a Mac
out.
anymore, but yeah.
It's planetarium software, and it allows you to do so very many things, and it shows you where everything's at in the sky. Now, if you are a fan of pop culture astrology, you know, like Google what's my sign and what's going on today.
Zodiac,
Yeah, you're probably not aware that the sun is right here on the literal tail end of Sagittarius, and definitely not, what are they saying? It's like in Capricorn or something? Is that what people are saying?
For Christ's sakes, I
Yeah,
don't
they're
even
saying
know
it's
if we're
in
in
Capricorn.
Capricorn season anymore. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
And those
this
who
is
are sensitive knows that it's not.
Say that again.
I said those who are very sensitive to energy knows it's not. We can still feel that heat.
I mean, I would hope so, but
I felt it when it finally broke the galactic center. I was like, yeah.
You wouldn't
Keep
believe
going.
how many astrologers don't look at the sky and have never observed where a planet is at in a constellation. They probably can't identify a constellation, which sucks,
I always look at, I'm
obviously.
so amazed by people that are astrologists and they know astrology. I'm always just taken in by the way that they can explain things that's going on through the planets and where everything is.
Yes. Well, speaking of, we're going to run through the week here. I'll go first, and then we'll have Niki give her take. So the sun, you guys, I know this comes as a shock, okay? But actually, the sun transits Sagittarius every year. This happens all the time. So it's not really fun and exciting, at least for me, to talk about what's going on, because some of the things that are happening seasonally for you are going to depend on where you're at. And a lot of the, in particular, like the Mesopotamian associations do depend a little bit on some of the seasons. So this was obviously, still wintertime and everything, but in Mesopotamia, we're going into like the fertile, rainy time period, which happens predominantly over here. At least it did about 3,000 to 5,000 years ago over here in Aquarius and Pisces. Not surprising that these are watery constellations. Even Capricorn has half of a fish over here. So this was like a fertile time, a time for planting or preparing to plant and like really cultivate your things that you're doing in life. And we see some of that in Western culture in particular, but pretty much all around the world. If you follow like the modern calendar, January 1st, that's a good time to start new things. And sure, this is definitely it. Anytime we have anything going on in Sagittarius, it signals success on some level, but you have to put the work in. Yes. Fortunately, Mercury's over here. Now, if there's an unfortunate to the fortunate, if I can qualify that real quick, sometimes when the sun and Mercury are farther apart, Mercury becomes much more powerful. And it's kind of a double-edged sword. So in Mesopotamia, and these were a few different deities. I won't bore you with the details. Definitely go to my website. I have more information if you're interested in that. But it's very similar to the current meaning of Mercury. It's very cognitive, very much about listening, learning, taking in information. But the thing that they did forget in modern times is that this Mercury was associated with water. That was if we had to pick an element, even though they didn't use the element modality system, if we had to pick one, it would have been the water sign. And water was the creative element, which meant that this Mercury has everything to do with curiosity, with learning, with that desire, that hunger to go out and like consume information, go down the rabbit hole and figure stuff out. Now, the downside to this is sometimes strong Mercury in a chart, in this placement currently, this applies, is too logical, too in the head, and it kind of skips over the intuition. When the sun and Mercury are closer together, they kind of blend in better, and it's a much softer, more intuitive vibe as opposed to this, which is like, now this favors you if you have a career where you have to do a lot of analytical work or something that requires a really powerful mind. I mean, this is a fantastic placement for you. As the sun moves into Capricorn, I mean, like I said, this is really going to depend on what you have going on seasonally, but Capricorn is a really soft constellation. I know you don't get that in the modern interpretations, but this was Tashma too. She was the goddess of healing and blessing. She was called the divine doctress, the grantor of requests. So Capricorn is very nurturing, selfless, devoted, and pretty dedicated to putting all their love and energy and attention into whatever it is that they're passionate about, whether those are projects or people or, you know, whatever it is. So that definitely serves you and everybody with, you know, Capricorn coming up here over the next few weeks. I mean, it's still going to be a few weeks before we really get into it, but happy almost your birthday is what we'll say. Next, we have Venus and Saturn here conjunct right on the outside of what is currently considered Aquarius, although these constellations changed even over the last 2,000 years. They're not all in the exact same place in these images, but for our purposes, sure. We'll say that it's over here. Now, Saturn's been here for a while. And we talked a little bit about this. It might have been, I think it was the week before last, we were talking about Saturn's influence on AI technology. You know, one of the things I didn't factor in when we were talking about that, and Niki, I'm not sure if you want to piggyback on this at some point, but is the quantum computing aspect. Now, this is something they've been working on for years. So we can't say, oh, Saturn, you know, being an Aquarius, all of a sudden quantum computing. But it just so happens that we've had this major breakthrough in the last few weeks, really, right as Saturn's finally pulling out of its perpetual retrograde, it seems like, and actually making its way into Pisces, which is really interesting. And we can definitely talk about that at a later date. But Venus and Saturn together, in my opinion, is a really nice placement. It definitely puts some love and emotion, some empathy into what can be a very technical placement of Saturn here in Aquarius, where it's like really into the material world. I say material world, I'm not talking about materialism and, you know, greed and ambition, but more ones and zeros, numbers, the material universe, mechanistic science and whatnot, that type of thing. So I think that this is a good thing. I don't see any negative in here just based on this. We did talk last time around about some potential coming up next week, which do I want to zoom back in on this? Let's cover this real quick. Stand by, guys. Hold on.
Aquarius.
Basically, over the next few weeks, all of these planets right over here are going to jump into. Okay, I'm just pushing one button. Don't crash, please. Please don't crash on me. It was around late January. This period right here. Well, I think is that the sun or the moon? I gotta zoom in. Hold on. Oh, that's okay. So this period is interesting. So it's basically over the next 2 weeks, as Venus moves into Pisces, and it's going to it's already pulling Saturn along, but she's going to go, I believe, retrograde too here soon. Or is she coming out of retrograde? You guys help.
No, she goes into retrograde sometime in Pisces, and I had it written down,
right.
but I don't remember.
I think that's our is that our. Hold on, I'm going to show you right now. Why you got to be centered, Venus, though. We got to center you, honey. There we go. She's going to swing back around. This one's very interesting. That is March 25th. And I think that's right around the time that Mars goes direct again and comes back out of Gemini sometime around. I'm loosely... I don't get super hung up on the dates, you guys, and I don't think you should either. That's my personal opinion. These energies represent windows of whatever we're dealing with. So I don't think the date and time is quite as specific. But where's I going with this? Hold on. All right, don't crash. Don't crash. You can do it. Oh, I got to go back to the right time. What's today, you guys? January
15th. 15th.
All right, cool. All right, so yes, good. Good. All is well. Jupiter's still over here conjunct beautifully, perfectly with this big red star, Aldebaran, which you guys can see this very easily outside. Please go outside. It's different depending on your, like geographically where you live. For me, it's usually in the evening, although that's when I go walk my dogs around 10 or 11. It's right smack in the middle of the sky. It's gorgeous. You can see Orion, and he's lining up, you know, pretty easily. Like, definitely go check this out. But this is a phenomenal creativity placement. It's a power placement. And this star was called, I thought it was crashing. Sorry. This was called the Jaws Bull, or what did I just say? The bull's jaw. Okay, there we go. Try again. And it was also called the crown of Anu, and he was the supreme celestial god in Mesopotamia. And this gives, like, this star in particular, really powerful cosmic divine status. Okay, so this conjunction here, any spiritual work that you do, any creative work that you do, any new romantic relationships you're starting, these things are all favored right now, but especially more the spiritual and the creative side. Okay, so definitely take advantage of that. And it's hovering, it's been around here back and forth over the last few months. Like we said, Mars is still working its way back here until mid-March into Gemini. Regardless, this was, now in modern times, this is completely different. But in ancient times, these were just versions of him. They were called Lugalira and Meshlam Tai, and they just translated, they were just versions of him, basically, without going into all of that. So Mars being in Gemini, that's kind of like him being at home. Now, we don't do in Mesopotamian terms the same, level of planetary rulership, but if we had to pick one, this would be one of them. I would say Venus is another one. But it's a different conversation. But while this is happening, this does tie in our higher emotion and lower emotion. So like the basic caveman emotions with like that higher blissful love, which can also be dark. We can also get despair and misery out of some of those higher emotions. But what it will do, if you're an empathic person, this placement sucks. And this happens every time Mars goes into Gemini. It just turns on that porous nature that you have with your heart chakra, with your empathic connections to people. So somebody like Latanya probably has a much harder time while this is happening. So good luck, Tanya, well into probably March and April. You're probably going to be feeling the effects of this. So sorry for you.
My phone just totally went out and I missed the good stuff. Like, can you back up just a teeny bit from when I came back in? Because I
don't know when you came in. I have no idea. Because I checked out too. My crashed.
Oh, okay. So you were talking about something about Gemini when I opened, because like technically they say I'm a Cancer, but then technically I'm a Gemini, and I identify more, with that type of energy.
Yeah. So in the most simplistic terms, Mars in Gemini becomes clairsentient. And it ties in your physical and psychic energies with your empathic connections, and it just blows them into.
That explains a lot.
Have you had trouble sleeping, especially the last like 2-3 days? I've had a lot of people
I literally had to take something to go to sleep last night, and one night I stayed awake all night, and I'm so sensitive, I can feel this stuff coming like a week or two ahead.
Yes. Well, astrologically, there's a window. It's not just on the dates, which, that's another, I don't know if that's like a Western culture thing. Why do people get so hung up on the precise date?
Yeah, like my thing is I think they try to keep us locked into certain mindsets. They try to control things. So if they can put a time on it, they can put a lock on it, and it don't really exist for us.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Then we just listen to whatever the hell the media tells us.
Yes.
Like the sun is in Capricorn.
I mean, the people that can't even get time zones correct.
No, I'm not perfect at dates or anything, but at least I can look up. Yeah, at least I'm looking up.
I wish I knew what you all knew, because then things would be like, you'll know things are going on. It might be a little bit hard, but at least you'll know why and kind of when things might even out a little bit.
Oh, that's exactly what astrology should be used for.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Absolutely. So we had the full moon on Monday, and the full moon was in contact, I think. Oh my God, what did we have? So we had like a little.
Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really been out of my, I walked up the road to get me some air or whatever, but I haven't. It's been so strong, so I'm glad that I didn't have to leave the house, because I didn't want to go too far.
Yeah, and that's probably why. Mars makes me a little on the shaky side when it moves into Gemini, the full moon. I was not able to sleep. I was sleeping all the time up until then. Got a good solid 5 hours. It was amazing. But
it's crazy. It's crazy that my
Uranus
throat in my head was just going nuts. So I had to get help with that.
Actually, I guess that depends on where what house that's in. I know I was dealing with some health issues too, and I was like, is it Mars? Like, what is it? Like,
actually that's in, if you read the Babylonian omens, Gemini associations often relate to illnesses, and I've been able to verify a lot of that. So this type of placement with Mars, if you don't protect yourself with this increased empathic and clairsentient sensitivity, illnesses are definitely one of the bigger problems that you end up with.
And it's not worth being out around all that type of stuff. Like
no.
No, I've been fighting off illness too. I've been fighting
I'm thinking,
something
I tell
terrible.
you, it's definitely motivation to make sure that you can find anything to work from home.
Yeah.
Like,
I've actually this full moon was kind of a interesting one. Like it was really chill for me. I hung out with my heating pad and my books, and I didn't really do anything.
It's safe as long as you're inside and away from people and not answering the phone.
It was a really good time to be alone, be creative, just to, like have my own like imagination time. And I noticed a lot of other people around that time they were also kind of just really stuck in their heads.
Workouts, like I've been doing dance workouts.
It was a great time for music.
Things like that.
Oh my God. Hell yeah. I was listening to Mac Miller yesterday. I was like, oh, turn on some self-care. Like, I'm about self-care. Like I'm all about that self-care this week.
And I had like a hot foot soak. I do like different baths of things, but sometimes I'll just take what I normally would put in a spiritual bath and I put it in my foot soak and just let it marinate. And so, I did that. I did some release work and all types of stuff, but I was fine as long as nobody called me with their problems. And then somebody called. My stepmother was in the hospital with the flu and strep, and my dad had the flu. All 4 of my grandchildren, no, 4 of them. All 4 of my grandchildren have the flu. It's like, I was over here in peace, and then they call me with that, and it's like, okay, breathe. They're being taken care of.
I've been having a lot of body aches, and I just can't shake it. Like yesterday, I was so glad I was hanging onto a cart because my legs just hurt. So my back and my legs were just killing me. And I'm like, why? Like there's no reason for it.
That's gotta be. I love the way that looks.
Yeah, it's cool. Niki, what do you think's coming up this week? What do you got for us?
Well, this week is we're on the waning side of the moon. So everything's the peak happened already. It's kind of like winding down a little bit. It's not really, there's not a whole lot going on other than the same things that have been going on for the past, few weeks. And, we still have Saturn. Okay, so Venus is really bringing up a lot more of these Saturn processes too, a lot. And just, it's stuff I'm actually seeing out there. So, a lot of people aren't very happy, with our political, structures. I mean, anything. I mean, you look at any of the structures that we have going on in anybody's basic life, and they're unhappy with it. There's a lot of people who just want to see some change, whether it's in their personal life or whether it's, in their big life.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the outside world, there's some dissatisfaction, and a lot of people are feeling it. And I'm seeing that with Venus moving closer to, well, I mean, because Aquarius is about, those humanitarian things, and it's a water sign. And I get so pissed off. I keep reading about how Aquarius is such a cold and disloving and unloving.
So ridiculous.
Have you ever met one? Like, have you ever met one? I got into a fight one time, you guys, with this 20-year-old girl who was an Aquarius. I gave her a fucking reading too, free one. She was a Swiftie, okay? All about Taylor Swift, all about her girlfriends, all about like that, like so social, so like full of love and gusto and piss and vinegar. My God, like just.
I think with that,
I was like, it was hard to not admire this person for being so like fired up and so like about what they love, and it was a really interesting interaction I had with this person long after I'd given a reading.
The dark side of like any other sign got dark sides, and I think what it is is
it's the dark.
the dark side of it is so memorable that most people would probably never deal with another one again.
Well, yeah,
If you
because I mean, when they're done with you, like you're
they
bye.
can, yeah.
That's where the cold comes from, because it's a lot like Pisces. Like, you know, as soon as the
Yeah.
Pisces is done, like bye.
And if they're
Like,
a
it's cold.
cusper, it's really bad. My mom is a cusper, and she's also like very like she used
So
to
she takes
really
on
suffer.
both. Like,
Ooh. And then my ex-husband and my brother both have the same birthday, and they're both January 28th.
that's Capricorn, right?
Well, no, that's
That's
supposedly Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Maybe
tropical
if
Aquarius.
it's tropical, yeah, that's just made up nonsense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the made up nonsense. I even have
Yes,
like
me
little
too.
sheets I printed off from like a while ago, and I look at it, I'm like,
You're handing out flyers to people. You're like, listen, I
no,
need
And I
to talk
think
to you
yeah, right?
about
I know
sidereal astrology.
that's
yeah, they
literally
want
what
to
I tell
confuse
people.
people. They want to confuse people. The thing is when you run into gifted people, like they can try to confuse you, but it does not have to make sense to resonate with us, and that's what they don't understand. Like
But
it
I
does,
see what's
because
happening in people's
we
lives
know,
compared
you know.
to the transits. You know, we've got all of these big players. I was telling Friar, we've got all of these big players doing
Mhm.
like some kind of holy trinity thing. We've got Pluto trine Neptune, which is, you know, on and off. But then Neptune's trining Uranus, and then Uranus is no, it's sextiling. Sorry, sextiling, not trining. They're all having sex, you guys.
They're having some
Fucking
sextiles.
no. So what they're doing is they're creating like it's just creative energy, and that was also like, I don't know. I got confused actually for a second there.
Ooh.
Trying sextiles. I looked at it so much. But no, you have those three, you know, outer planets, um, you know, creating and making all of these contacts, you know, of Mars and helping, you know, spin along these internal processes. A lot of people are finding they're not happy with what they have going on, or is the dream real? Can we, you know, start something new already? I mean, there's a lot of different things going on for a lot of different people. And for some, I've
Mhm.
seen it just kick off absolute rage fests where they just are so like emotional and upset. I mean, just the past few
Well,
days.
some of these people also have like disorders and things like that, and
Yeah, yeah. Well, with the sun moving closer too in opposition, I mean, with Mars, I mean, it's illuminating a lot of these things. I mean, it's
that's what I
integrating
mean.
and
Mhm.
illuminating all of it. So
It's like
it
I want to
makes,
walk around with silver bullets and mistletoe.
yeah. Oh my God.
It's like, let me see,
Sage.
because they coming, they're coming.
Get a sage machine, like sage machine gun.
Mhm. Something.
Yeah, so it's been an ongoing process. We've had a lot of, I've seen a lot of it. I'm
That
experiencing it
explains a
myself.
lot, though. That clears a
Yeah,
lot up.
yeah. Well, we have a lot going on starting next week. But when the sun moves into Capricorn, we have the inauguration. We have, you know, the United States is changing their administration. So, I mean, it brings up a lot of you know, political stuff. It brings up a lot of social change, and a lot of people are unhappy, and a lot of us, I mean, myself included, want to see a lot less government. I don't want
Oh
to see
yeah.
more of the same people who put us in this place trying to get us out of it. It's like, oh, hey, I caused you all these problems, but I'm the only one who can save you from it. Like,
Hmm.
little sus to me,
If
and
you,
everyone's caught
yeah,
on. So
they
I
don't
mean,
ever. They create problems and then they try to look like the hero and come in
yeah,
and
and then
just
they're the
like
savior
this.
coming in to save
Yeah.
you. You're the one who did this. Who said this, and now you're, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, I think next week we're gonna see a little bit more movement in the stars. We'll see a lot more things switching signs, or planets switching signs. Like Venus will move. Saturn's still gonna be in the same spot. I think in the next, I think by the end of the month, Jupiter might come out of retrograde. Is that right? No, somebody comes out of
I know I have
retrograde.
all the way till March for Mars to
Yeah,
go the
Mars
right
is
right.
he's really I don't oh my God, I don't ever remember him taking this long of a retrograde trip, but
I
I
think
don't
he did
know.
it just for
Sometimes
me, just for me.
sometimes I'm not paying attention. I know. For me, I'm like, come on, Jupiter. I need you to move. I need you to get
It's
out of
like with my
retrograde.
placements,
I
I'm
got a house
sitting
to
over here
sell.
like, whoa, because it's good, but it's like getting used to the good. Like, once you come out of a lot of trauma, it's almost weird. You have to reset your mind and all your paradigms. Like, you have to reset
Yeah.
everything to not having to be in fight or flight all the time.
Well, I'm almost wondering how this is affecting you. You know, we have Neptune, making some kind of contact with the North Node. It's not exact. It's not conjunct exactly. With the North Node of the Moon is just it's
It's
a
been
touchy
real.
point. Yeah, it's
It's
been
been real.
real. Like, do you feel like it's been showing you more of your life path, that you've been seeing a lot
Yeah.
more of
I
what it
mean,
is
y'all, I'm
that's
sitting here with
happening?
look at my dress.
Yeah.
I've been over here like, okay, I try to get away from it, and it's like everywhere.
There's no escaping Neptune.
And it's like I'll be trying to have like a regular day and just watch a movie like a normal person, and then here comes all the messages out of the movie, and just it's like, okay, y'all gonna make sure that I'm here to help somebody heal.
Yeah, I know. I
But
kind
it's
of
making
the
it easier now, because now instead of me having to feel like I gotta like try to pump and prime people, I don't beg people anymore to heal. Like, what I do is I I try to be what I talk about, you know what I mean, in front of
yeah,
them. And
yeah,
on top of that, I feel like some of these people need help, but they don't want it. And they like the attention, and they like the constant, reassurance, and they like the way it feels for somebody who's a
yeah,
nurturer to be around. They don't have any intentions on using it to help better the situation though. So after I do that part of it, then like I call it like the dark side comes out, like not in a mean way, but if you come back with the same issue, and I do this to myself, if I come back with the same issue over and over, and I haven't done what I need to do to get that issue in alignment, then I'm not gonna be nice to myself and say, "Oh, it's okay." Not well, not gonna be nice, because nice borders on fake and inauthentic.